Okay, my friends, let's get into this one. So I'm going to try to create a highlight so I can post it for a short. Yeah, because this is very important, my friends. So CTE has still been a hot topic. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that we all seen what happened to Chris Johnson. Okay, so it seems like CTE is getting much worse. Okay, so we're gonna get into this new fresh study. Credit to ABC News. Study suggests at least 1 in 4 former NFL players may have CTE. Researchers analyzed 1,712 former players who died between 2008 and 2021. So it says that at least 1 in 4 former NFL players who died between 2016 and 2021 may have had chronic traumatic encephalopathy, according to a new study published Monday in the BMG. Encephalopathy. Encephalopathy. My God, you're trying to say that 10 times. It sounds like. Ugh. So it says here that researchers from Mass General Brigham, Boston University, and the Concussion and CTE Foundation analyzed 1,712 former NFL players who died between 2008 and 2021 and found that 338 brains were donated for examination. So it says that among those donors, 315 of them, or 93.2%, had evidence of CTE, a degenerative brain disorder that can be caused by repeated head injuries. So it says here, quote, these repeated impacts are associated with where's quote, these repeated impacts are associated with an abnormal buildup of tau protein that damages brain cells and may eventually contribute to problems with memory, thinking, behavior, and mood. End quote. Dr. Leah Kroll, a neurologist at Maimonides Medical Center and assistant professor of neurology at Sunny Downstate Health Sciences University, who was not involved in the study, told ABC News, quote, right now, CTE can only be definitively diagnosed after death, end quote. So it says here, based on those findings, the authors estimated that the minimum prevalence of CTE among all former the NFL players who died between 2016 and 2021 was 24.5%. Quote, these findings are extremely concerning, end quote, Kroll noted. Quote, the true number could be substantially higher, and even this minimum estimate suggests that CTE is not a rare outcome among former NFL players. It's a sober realization neurodegenerative disease is a common occupational hazard for these players. And now, people, I must say, I mean, what did you think was going to happen? Let's be honest now. Yeah, so I mean they could have the greatest equipment, but the issue is that the athletes are so fucking good these days that what do you think is going to happen? For, so I was talking to one of my friends about this. The game of football at its core is violent. At its core is violent. All the rules, you can make all the rule changes. It will still be violent when you have top tier athletic machines crashing into each other. What do you think is going to happen, especially with the head? What do you think is going to happen? Faster, stronger, just slamming into each other like a Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa repeatedly slamming into you. What do you think is going to happen? So my friends, they can make all the rule changes. They can get all protective gear. This this will always be a common occurrence because once again, at the core, this is a extremely violent game. This is a violent game. That's all you can say. So I'm not surprised, but they have made some good things like that kickoff. But now when it comes to business, that's a whole other problem because do you really think these people want to make the game so safe to where it's boring? People watch the NFL. Why? Because it's boring, violent. Excuse me. They watch the UFC because violent. People watch boxing because it's violent. Do I necessarily watch it because violent? No, not really, because I really do like the sweet science of boxing. Uh, uh, the MMA when it comes to grappling, I absolutely love it, like the technique. But but for the casual, why do they watch it? Do they watch it because they give a fuck about the wrestling technique? Do they give a fuck about the hand control, the grip control? Charles Oliveira fighting Islam Makhachev, Charlie Olive's style of jiu-jitsu versus Mahachev's just fucking crushing pressure style of wrestling. Do you really think they care about that? Boxing, do you think they really care about the Spence Jr. versus Bud Crawford? Just the master class that Bud puts on mixing technique with power. It is absolutely fantastic. Watching him fight Saul Canelo, do you think they really give a shit about the technique? No, they just want to watch two men kick the living shit out of each other. Same with football. Do you really think they want to see, oh man, the different playing styles, defense versus offense, the running gun, the short passing game versus the immaculate defense? Do you really think they give a shit about that? No, they want to see two bodybuilders slamming into each other. So, so the NFL, they are between a rock and a hard place because now they have to make the decision. Do they want to make it ultra safe, in which they will sacrifice viewership, or do they want to keep things the same and sacrifice human life? But to be fair, I'm pretty sure that these guys know what they're doing playing that game. Do you mean to tell me that they have no idea? Okay, you mean to tell me that they have no idea how dangerous football is? So it's just one of those things, just like life in general. Everything has a give and take in life. Everything has consequences in life. You want to be sober, you're gonna sacrifice the party life. Okay, you're gonna have the party life. You're gonna sacrifice your health. Football, pro athlete, you're gonna make a lot of money, but the chances are you're gonna have some major issues after your playing days are over. But you have a lot of money, so that's the give and take. But I'm not surprised with these findings. I do think it's getting worse, but I think it mostly has to do with the fact that the modern human, such freaks, man, athletic freaks, and then when you have athletics, the athletic freaks continually slamming into each other, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to get this CTE, but it really is just sad. Like the whole Chris Johnson thing, that thing, oh that dude, that hurt. That hurt. I love CJ, and seeing him like that, but then it's just terrible. How CTE, it just turns your brain to mush. Oh, it's terrible. So prayers to CJ, prayers to all the people that are dealing with CTE. And now this raises the other question. Are you going to let your kid play football? I have to be honest, I don't think I'm going to let my kids play football because that scares the living shit out of me. If I let them play football, then they get CTE or something like that because it happens. Oh, I couldn't forgive myself, man. Especially as a father, you need to keep your kids safe. You need to set them up for success, not for failure. Just for petty bullshit, like you got to be a real nah, man. Nah, man. When you're in a wheelchair, nobody gives a fuck about you. Do you really think people give a fuck about you being a real man when you're in a wheelchair with fucking CTE? Hell no. Like, for example, Chris Johnson. Do you think people give a fuck about him playing football anymore? No. No, they see him in the wheelchair, and once again, that's a trade-off. Okay, that's a trade-off. This is a real possibility, and yeah, it's not funny. CTE, that shit is not funny. But I do think that with modern medicine, with modern technology, they will start to figure out like serums and procedures to make it much more less likely. So that's good. But yeah, that was sad to see, man. 1 in 4. 1 in 4. Crazy, man. So that being said, make sure to like the stream. Follow me here. Sub to my channel. Let's get to 1,000. This is all about talking sports. I love it. Thank you for the comments. I absolutely love it. I want to post the Larry Wheels fighting because that was funny. Man, he ripped his bicep. That is brutal. I mean, do you guys even watch those boxing matches? I don't watch them. God, like the Johnny Manziel one, that was fucking embarrassing. That was embarrassing. But Larry Wheels, I gotta say, he looked pretty good in there, man. He looked pretty good in there until his bicep turned into a snapped Twizzler. So yeah. So that being said, make sure to like the stream and sub. Thank you for tuning in to Tuesday edition of Talking Sports with Mark Live. I hope you have a beautiful Tuesday, my friends. The pleasure has been all mine.